Welcome to the deep dive. If you're listening to this, you are exactly the kind of person who loves to peel back the layers of the everyday world just to see the gears turning underneath.
Yeah, the people who really want to know how things work.
Exactly. So today, I want you to do a quick mental exercise for me. The next time you look at a dog, whether it's your own dog sleeping on the couch or just, a stranger's dog walking down the sidewalk, I want you to prepare to see them completely differently.
It really is a profound shift in perspective.
It is. You're going to look at them and see a biological miracle and honestly, a living, breathing, ancient time capsule.
Because we tend to just look at them as pets, right? Like furry roommates.
Right.
But they are a literal, living record of human history and our own evolution.
And our source material today is perfectly tuned to trigger that exact perspective shift. We're looking at a transcript from a fascinating, deeply relaxing YouTube video from the channel Drift and Discover.
It's such a great channel.
It is. The video is titled, "The Most Relaxing Facts About Dogs to Fall Asleep To." But we aren't here to sleep today.
No, definitely not. There's too much good stuff here.
Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the mind-blowing biology, the hidden history, and the absolute sensory superpowers of dogs. We are completely bypassing the basic trivia to get to the real aha moments about our oldest companions. Okay, let's unpack this.
To really understand them, we have to explore how humans and dogs biologically and emotionally transformed one another.
Because it wasn't a one-way street.
Not at all. It was a mutual evolution, a sort of ancient treaty.
Let's actually flip the script on that entire history of domestication right now. Because the traditional story I always heard was basically human conquest. Our ancient ancestors capturing wolf pups, taming them, bending them to our will.
The standard caveman narrative.
Right. But the source material highlights that wolves actually chose us first, roughly 15,000 years ago.
You could call it the ultimate calorie bet. Well, picture those early human campfires out in the harsh wilderness. The wolves that were just a bit leaner, a bit more curious, and crucially, less aggressive, they crept closer to the light.
Oh, I see.
They traded their absolute wildness for the warmth of the firelight and the guarantee of calories from human scraps. And by making that bet, they survived to breed calmer, more tolerant puppies.
They warned us of danger in the dark, and we shared our food.
Exactly.
The speed of this evolution is what really caught my attention, though. By 4,000 years ago, which is practically a blink of an eye in evolutionary terms, we already had distinct, highly specialized dogs.
It happened incredibly fast.
Take the Saluki, for instance.
Yeah.
They are so ancient that their graceful, sleek silhouettes are literally carved into Egyptian tombs from 5 millennia ago. Pharaohs mummified them to take them into the afterlife.
And then you have the Basenji.
Right, the ancient African breed.
Yeah, that doesn't even bark. It yodels.
Which is wild.
It's like hearing the original ancient conversation between wolf and human before barking was fully sculpted by human preference.
That rapid sculpting leads us to something truly unprecedented in biology. We're talking about the unique malleability of the dog genome.
There is no other domesticated animal on Earth that shows this extreme level of variation.
Yeah, think about cats or horses or cattle. They all stay within relatively predictable proportional bounds.
But dogs are essentially biological clay.
The physical logistics of that are just insane to think about. You have a 3-pound Chihuahua and a 200-pound Great Dane. They look like entirely different animals from completely different planets.
Yet they are the exact same species.
It sounds like an impossible geometry problem.
It does, but that is the plasticity of their DNA at work. We molded them for highly specific functions over thousands of years. Take the Labrador Retriever, for example.
One of the classic.
Right. They're often considered the golden mean of this genetic clay. They have a water-resistant coat that sheds rain-like oil and a thick otter tail that acts as a biological motor for swimming to retrieve waterfowl.
A perfectly balanced equation for a working companion.
Exactly. But then you swing to the extreme opposite end of the spectrum and you have greyhounds.
45-mile-per-hour living race cars.
Their spines actually stretch out in full flight, making them faster than a racehorse.
But the beautiful biological trade-off there is that they are complete couch potatoes.
They really are.
They burn so hot and fast for a 5-minute sprint, and then they're just done for the day, sleeping on the rug.
And you also have the giants. The Irish wolfhound is practically the size of a human adult when standing up, built specifically to hunt now extinct wolves in Ireland.
Contrast that with the Chihuahua.
Right, tracing their lineage back to the Chichi dogs of the ancient Toltec civilization.
That fearless tiny body still carries the giant protective attitude of an ancient wolf, just packed into a 3-pound frame.
It really proves your point about dogs being biological clay. We didn't just breed them for size, we essentially custom-ordered their aesthetics.
I was reading about Dalmatians in the source material.
Mm-hmm.
They are born completely pure white, like a piece of unmarked paper,
Yeah, those famous spots develop later.
emerging over weeks like invisible ink developing under heat. Or the beagle. We specifically bred them to have a white-tipped tail, just so hunters had a visual bouncing flag to track them when they were deep in tall grass.
It's incredible design.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Have you looked into the Norwegian Lundehund?
Ah, the puffin dog.
Yes.
Their biology is almost unnatural by standard canine measurements.
The adaptations are insane. They were bred to hunt puffins on the steep, slippery sea cliffs of Norway. I can't even imagine the environmental engineering required to survive that.
It requires a highly specialized internal and external architecture. For one, they have 6 fully functional toes on each foot.
6 toes, just to grip the jagged rocks.
And their neck is so flexible it can bend entirely backward to touch their spine, which allows them to squeeze into incredibly tight cliff crevices.
That sounds like an alien.
It gets better. Most incredibly, they can voluntarily clamp their ear canals shut to block out water and dirt while they climb.
Wow. And beneath all those unique exterior designs, the internal hidden machinery of just an everyday dog is just as fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
We assume they're pure carnivores like wolves, but the source makes it clear they are not.
No, they are actually omnivores. By living alongside humans for thousands of years, eating our agricultural scraps and grains, dogs evolved specific enzymes that wolves lack.
Allowing them to efficiently digest starches.
Exactly. Their entire internal architecture adapted to human life. Even their mouths are marvels of engineering. They have 42 adult teeth compared to our 32.
Interestingly enough, puppies only have 28 baby teeth before the adult set comes in.
Their sense of taste is completely alien to ours, too. Humans have around 9,000 taste buds. Dogs only have about 1,700.
So their experience of a meal isn't really about the flavor on their tongue at all.
It's almost entirely olfactory. It's about the aroma.
They do, however, possess highly sensitive taste receptors for water, which humans lack entirely.
Yes. And they also have a heightened sensitivity to bitter flavors to keep them from eating toxic plants in the wild.
Consider how they regulate their body temperature, too, which is another massive divergence from humans.
Right. They don't sweat through their skin to cool down.
They only have sweat glands concentrated in their paw pads.
To cool their entire mass, they rely on panting. They move rapid air across the moist surfaces of their tongue and throat, utilizing evaporation to pull heat from their bloodstream.
I also loved what the sources debunked about their vision. Everyone always repeats that old myth that dogs see the world like a vintage black and white movie.
That's completely false.
They actually see blues and yellows very vividly. They're just red-green, colorblind, similar to some humans.
And what they lack in the full color spectrum, they completely make up for in low light capability. They have an incredible structure behind their retina called the tapetum lucidum.
That's the mirror layer, right?
Exactly. It reflects incoming light back through the eye a second time. That is exactly what gives them that glowing eye effect when a flashlight hits them in the dark, and it grants them superb night vision.
And they have that hidden third eyelid, too.
The nictitating membrane. It sweeps across the eye like a built-in windshield wiper to clear debris without them having to fully blink.
Before we even get to how a dog uses its nose, the physical nose itself is a marvel. I read that a dog's nose print, the actual leather texture of their snout, is as completely unique as a human fingerprint.
It is.
But it's what is behind that leather texture that is the real superpower, the invisible world of scent. I was looking at the math on their sense of smell in the source material, and it honestly looked like a typo.
The numbers are staggering.
It says their smell is 10,000 to 100,000 times stronger than ours. How do you even conceptualize a number like that in the real world?
The easiest way to visualize it is through distance. It's the difference between you seeing a candle sitting across the room and seeing that exact same candle burning from 10 miles away.
That is absurd.
In practical terms, dogs can literally smell time.
Smell time.
Yes. A trained bloodhound can track a specific footprint that is 3 days old, even after a heavy rainstorm has washed over the trail.
Wow.
They can smell human emotions by detecting the minute chemical shifts of stress hormones in our sweat. They can even smell complex diseases like cancer or impending diabetic seizures in parts per trillion.
How is that physically possible? The mechanics of the sniff have to be totally different from how we breathe.
They absolutely are. Dogs possess what scientists call stereoscopic smell.
Like 3D vision, but for their nose.
Exactly. Just like we use two eyes to create depth perception and judge distance, each of a dog's nostrils works completely independently. They process scent separately, allowing them to triangulate exactly which direction a faint smell is coming from.
That makes so much sense.
Furthermore, they have continuous airflow. They inhale through the front of the nose and exhale through those little slits on the side.
Ah, so they never lose the scent.
Right. They bring in a constant, uninterrupted stream of scent data without ever pausing to exhale. And their wet noses can even detect thermal radiation.
Thermal radiation.
They can feel the invisible body heat left behind on a patch of grass by a rabbit that hopped by 10 minutes ago.
Okay, while their world is primarily defined by scent, their hearing is equally superhuman. Humans max out hearing at about 20,000 hertz. Dogs can hear up into the ultrasonic range, up to 65,000 hertz.
Which means they live in a world of constant high-frequency noise that we are entirely deaf to.
Like what?
They hear the high-pitched hum of electronic appliances, the buzzing of fluorescent lights, or the ultrasonic squeaks of rodents hidden deep inside the walls.
And they use their upright ears. Think of the silhouette of a German Shepherd or a Corgi as literal radar dishes to capture and funnel sound.
We did breed floppy ears into many dogs for aesthetics, though, or to create a softer, more approachable temperament.
Yeah, a golden retriever's floppy ears make them look incredibly friendly, but that biological trade-off actually sacrifices a little bit of that acute, radar-like hearing.
It is a fascinating compromise between function and form, but even with floppy ears, their perception is miles beyond ours. Which brings us to a really crucial point, how we define their intelligence.
Right, because if you measure a dog by standard human metrics, they generally have the cognitive intelligence of a 2-year-old toddler.
Right.
They can learn 100 to 300 distinct words, understand basic cause and effect, and even do very rudimentary counting. They definitely know the difference between you holding 1 treat versus 3 treats.
They never miss that.
Never. But anyone who has ever watched their dog try to carry a giant 10-foot branch horizontally through a narrow doorway knows they aren't exactly doing advanced spatial geometry.
What's fascinating here is that their true brilliance doesn't lie in tool use or spatial problem solving. Their genius lies in their social intelligence. We constantly measure animal intelligence by how well they solve a maze. But dogs have specialized their entire cognitive evolution into reading us. Think about this. If you point your finger at an object across the room, a dog will naturally look at the object.
Doesn't every animal do that?
No. Even a chimpanzee, our closest genetic relative, struggles with that abstract concept. A chimp will usually just stare at your finger. Dogs have evolved specifically to read human microexpressions, body language, and intent. They are the ultimate students of humanity.
They really are. They know the difference between your getting ready for work routine and your getting ready for a walk routine before you even pick up your keys.
Absolutely.
And they speak right back to us, constantly in a silent language of their own bodies. Take the tail wag. We all assume a wagging tail just means a happy dog. But there is a whole tail wag asymmetry going on.
That comes down to how their brains are lateralized. Just like humans, a dog's brain has a left and right hemisphere that handle different emotions and functions. Because of this lateralization, a broad wag is generally happy. But a wag that is heavily biased to the right is driven by the left side of the brain, indicating positive, relaxed feelings.
And the left side.
A wag biased to the left indicates they are experiencing stress, fear, or uncertainty.
Their broader body language is incredibly nuanced once you know what to look for. If a dog is stressed out at the vet, they might yawn repeatedly. It is a self-soothing mechanism, not a sign that they need a nap.
Or if they are anxious about a loud noise, they might repeatedly lick their lips.
Then you have the classic playbow, where their front legs are down on the floor and their rear end is up in the air. That is their way of establishing a safe context. It is a clear signal that says whatever roughhousing happens next is just play, not aggression.
They display massive emotional intelligence, including complex feelings like jealousy when you pet a strange dog, or genuine empathy when a family member is crying.
But this profound emotional depth doesn't just spontaneously happen, does it?
No, it has to be carefully built. The metamorphosis of puppies is where this entire behavioral foundation begins, and it is an incredibly fast process.
9 weeks,
A
right?
dog's gestation is only about 9 weeks. When puppies are finally born, they are completely helpless, they are completely deaf, and their eyes are sealed firmly shut.
Their entire universe is reduced to just touch and the physical heat of their mother.
It takes about 2 full weeks for their eyes to slowly open and for them to begin perceiving the world.
There is a critical takeaway in the source material here for anyone listening who might be bringing a puppy into their home. There is this developmental period called the sacred window of socialization.
Yes, it occurs between 3 and 14 weeks of age.
And the stakes during that window cannot be overstated.
That is the exact period where a puppy's brain is physically wiring its permanent neural pathways to understand the world. If they are exposed positively to novel sights, sounds, humans, and other dogs during this sacred window, they learn that the world is inherently safe.
A loud city bus driving by, or a vacuum cleaner turning on, just becomes background noise to a confident adult dog.
But if they miss that window, it alters their whole trajectory.
Precisely. If they are kept totally isolated in a quiet living room, or if they are severely frightened during this time, those neural pathways encode fear as a default survival response.
Which leads directly to anxious, reactive, or fearful adult dogs.
The window is incredibly brief, just a matter of weeks, but the psychological effects last for their entire lifetime.
Understanding that developmental fragility makes their modern roles even more impressive.
When you look at the heroic ways this 15,000-year partnership translates to the modern world, it is astounding. We have guide dogs that lead visually impaired handlers through chaotic, unpredictable city streets.
And they are even trained in a concept called intelligent disobedience.
Oh, this is amazing. If their handler gives a firm command to step off a curb, but the dog sees a quiet hybrid car speeding around the corner, the dog will actively disobey the command, refusing to move in order to keep their handler safe.
We have search and rescue dogs whose noses can sniff out a single survivor buried under meters of collapsed concrete or dense avalanche snow. Think about the historical legend of Barry, the St. Bernard.
Barry is an incredible piece of documented history.
In the early 1800s, operating in the freezing, treacherous passes of the Swiss Alps, this single dog reportedly saved around 40 different people who would have otherwise frozen to death in avalanches or whiteout storms.
He used his massive insulated body to physically warm them, and his innate sense of direction to guide them back to safety.
It is the ultimate expression of this cross-species covenant we've built. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the phrase man's best friend is often tossed around as just a nice, folksy sentiment.
But it is actually a measurable neurochemical reality.
When a human and a dog make deliberate eye contact, both the human's brain and the dog's brain release a surge of oxytocin.
That is the exact same love and bonding hormone that is released biologically between a human parent and their newborn child.
So what does this all mean?
It means this biological bond physically changes us. Interacting with a dog lowers our blood pressure. It reduces our circulating stress hormones.
Dogs give us a tangible daily purpose.
It forces us to get off the couch, to walk outside into the sunlight, and to actively engage with the physical world around us, rather than just retreating into our own heads.
To sum it all up for you listening today, dogs are so much more than just pets occupying space in our homes.
They are living time capsules carrying the genetic memory of ancient human campfires. They are biological marvels equipped with stereoscopic smell and ultrasonic radar hearing.
Most importantly, they're emotional mirrors, perfectly tuned by thousands of years of evolution to read the human soul.
Tomorrow, when you see a dog, whether it is intensely sniffing a patch of sidewalk that looks completely empty to you, or just curled up dreaming on the floor, remember that they are experiencing a rich, invisible sensory universe that we cannot even begin to fathom.
It truly is a marvel. It leaves me with one final provocative thought to ponder.
Go for it.
For 15,000 years, dogs have physically and cognitively morphed to perfectly complement whatever humans needed in that era. From guarding ancient campfires, to herding sheep across valleys, to guiding the visually impaired through modern, bustling cities.
Right.
But as our human world becomes increasingly digital, increasingly isolated, and highly synthetic, how might the dog of 10,000 years in the future evolve to adapt to a humanity that lives almost entirely behind screens?
Wow. That is a completely wild thought to leave off on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the extraordinary hidden world of dogs. Keep observing the world around you, keep questioning the everyday, and keep exploring. We'll catch you next time.